Hi there, Natalie May here. Today I'm going to talk you through my Believe in Miracles layout that I created for Lindy Stamp Gang for their April Colour Challenge featuring incandescent copper. Before I start, I always do a colour swatch of some of the colours that I could use on my layout and see how they're going to work with my papers. I'm using 7 dots papers for this project and Blue Fern Studios. I love these papers, they're lovely, sturdy, fantastic for adding mixed media to the projects, and they hold up mediums really well. So I'm cutting my papers into strips and then I'm going to use glue to adhere them down to the page. I use a good double-sided tape to stick down that really big panel, but before I do that I like to distress them up using the edge of my scissors. I do have a distressing tool somewhere, but I've got absolutely no idea where it is. So a good double-sided tape to stick down that main panel, and then I'll just use glue to slide the rest in. The glue that I'm using is a Helmer acid-free, and I decant it into that little white bottle just to make it easy. I'm now going to prepare my panel using clear gesso. The Prima Art Basics Clear Gesso is my favourite. It's lovely and smooth. Then once that's dry, I'm going to map my photo, and I'm just going to add lovely layers of different offcuts and glue them underneath my photograph. Next thing I'm going to do is wrap a little bit of string just around my photo. Watch me fiddle around with that for a few seconds longer than I needed to. Made that really hard. Now I'm going to mask off my area, my cardstock, so I don't get any overspray. This is a gorgeous stencil from Stencil Girl, and using incandescent copper I spray over that stencil. I love that it just leaves those gorgeous little marks on the background there. Just dabbing off any excess just makes it quicker to dry as well. The next thing I'm going to do is add some of that cowabunga copper. Take the nozzle off, give it a few flicks around the page. Really love that effect, and again I'll just use a little bit of I don't know, poinsettia red gold I think it might have been, and give that a light spray as well. I like that blotchy look on this, and that's what I was really going for. I'm really looking at enhancing the background rather than completely changing the colour of it. So here I'm just using some mesh tape to cover up a little bit of the overspray that I did, where I didn't mask off that side like I should have. That annoyed me, so I had to fix that up. Love this mesh tape, it's fantastic, really easy to use. And dabbing off any excess liquid because I'm too impatient to wait for it to dry. Now I'm adding some golden doubloons in a spray just to add a little bit more of a shimmer to the page. I'm using Imaginarium Designs chipboard and some of their new releases and a couple of colours of Lindys. Spraying it on my craft mat, then flipping it over and soaking it all up just to make sure all of that beautiful shimmer sits on top of the chipboard. Really love that effect. Super easy and really effective. The Golden Doubloons Moonshadow Mist just comes out looking gorgeous. Next thing I'm going to do is use another Stencil Girl stencil, some vintage photo distress ink and a round blending sponge to add some highlight to my the marshmallow cardstock. So just a few little spots in and around the page just to give a little bit more interest to enhance that background. It does look kind of cool. Beautiful stencil as well. I wanted to add a little bit more of the golden doubloons, so I sprayed my stencil and then used it as a stamp around on the marshmallow cardstock, so that will sit beautifully on top of the vintage photo. Looks great. There you go, and actually drying it off for a change. Now this is where I decided it needed a couple of big drips, so I used the red flame to drip from a height so that it ended up being some nice big splotches. I'm using a number 16 round brush so that my colour was really loaded onto the brush. Then I'm just going to mask off a little area and do a few little splatters using the same colour, and also doing it with a little, I think I did it with some cowabunga copper as well and some incandescent, just to add a few little shimmers and splatters and a few more little points of interest around the page. As you can see, I used a sewing machine and just went around the edges with my sewing machine on all of the edges of the paper just to add a little bit more interest as well. And I left quite a few long pieces of cotton hanging out, which I then incorporate into the final layout. My chipboard I cut down and slide in and around my photo. I fiddled around with this for way too long, actually. I totally wasted so much time doing this. Edited out maybe 3 minutes of stuffing around. So I then used some glue to stick that on. And, oh, no I don't. I'm shuffling that around again. You just leave it alone. Okay, a bit more glue. Stick it down. Done. Look at that. Fabulous. Love that photo of Jess. I reckon she was maybe 5 or 6. 6 maybe when that was taken. Those days when she used to be cute. Anyway, so what am I going to do? Oh, look, I'm dancing. Does anybody else listen to music while they create? I tend to, and find myself doing that all the time. All right, the flowers. I had a whole heap of different colour flowers in my stash. What I wanted to do was colour them. So I took some washi tape and covered the stamens so that when I sprayed them, the stamens held their colour. So just different layers here just to give some really beautiful depth, and of course that beautiful shimmer is going to sit on top. Peel that washi tape off, and then your stamens are their original colour, and then the flowers just look beautiful. So give them a really good dry off before sticking them down. I actually cut this chipboard up before I stuck it down, and then just to get it to suit better. And then the flower, I used some foam tape to stick that on. Shuffle the flowers around a bit more and pop those into place. Slide some chipboard in there. Now what? Oh, okay, let's talk about embossing. Gave it a really good coat, my chipboard, Imaginarium chipboard, of blazing black. Then use Cleopatra's Copper embossing powder. Heat set that. Lovely. Straight back in there. Okay, then once I heat set that, and while it was still hot, I then added another coat of the Cleopatra's Copper. So then that way it really gave a beautiful, thick, glossy finish, and that's looks spectacular. Looks really, really good. That's one of the things that I tend to do when I'm heat embossing. I don't do it a lot, but yeah, it looks gorgeous. See that shimmer? Stick it down, bit of glue, and I am done. So that's my layout. I hope you enjoyed my little waffling session here. In fact, I hope you kind of fast forward over half of it. Have a play. Enjoy the colours that Lindy's put out. Here's a list of all the things that I have used, and I look forward to chatting with you all again.